The Protestant Reformation, also known as the Reformation, was a split in Western Christianity by Martin Luther. And no, not that Martin Luther, that Martin Luther. A little bit of background: in 1501 Germany, the bubonic plague was still around, and during that time, Martin Luther, who was 17 years old that time, lost many of his friends and family members. End of 1505, while Martin was returning to his university on a horse, a lightning bolt struck near Luther during a thunderstorm. Him being lonely and losing many loved ones, he cried out for help from Saint Anna, who is also the mother of Mary, and said, "Saint Anna, please help me. If I get out of this thunderstorm alive, I will become a monk." And he did. He left his university and entered St. Augustine's monastery. On October 31 of 1517, Germany, Martin Luther noticed the selling of indulgences. What are indulgences? Selling indulgences mean you had to pay for confession, which was kinda wrong, and that's where Martin Luther steps in. Martin Luther disliked the selling of indulgences, so he wrote to his bishop, Albert von Brandenburg, yeah, protesting the sale of indulgences. What he wrote was also known as the 95 Theses. The 95 Theses wasn't also just focused on the selling of indulgences, but also the policies of purgatory and the authority of the Pope. Martin Luther posted those 95 Theses on the front door of a church in Wittenberg because during that time, the front door of a church acted as a sort of bulletin board. In June 15th of 1520, a papal bull, or a letter in response to his teachings, was posted by Pope Leo X. Martin Luther was put on trial, or an assembly meeting, which is also known from your book as the Diet of Worms. And no, it's not what you think it is. During the time, Diet was referred as a meeting of political and religious authorities. So basically, it's like a meeting between, it's a meeting about religious stuff, all that. So Martin was allowed to defend himself. The church hoped that he would withdraw or take back what he said in the 95 Theses. But no, he didn't, so he was excommunicated by the Pope, which means he was kicked out of the Catholic Church. As a result, Martin Luther was considered an outlaw, which meant that anyone can catch him and give him to the big boys, slash the authorities. Also, during that time, the Bible was only in Greek and Latin. So, since Martin Luther was in Germany and he was German, while hiding in his friend's castle, Martin decided to rewrite the whole Bible into German, but removed the 7 books, aka the
Deuterocanonical
books, uh, because of his beliefs, so that people can read the Bible in their own languages, so they don't depend on the church's interpretation, since Martin saw the Bible as a way of God speaking to all people. Since that time also had publishing machines, Martin was able to publish many copies of it. Since the Bible rewritten in German was released to the public, many people started using it in arguments, debates, and conversations. However, this led to a time where priests and people started arguing, which wasn't Martin Luther's intent or aim at all, using the Bible, and this led to the division of the church into two: the Catholic Church and the Protestant Church. And that's it, that's the Reformation. The Peace of Augsburg, also known as the Augsburg Settlement, was a peace treaty between Charles V, the Holy Roman Emperor, and the Schmalkaldic League. This peace treaty was signed in 1555 and served as a legal division between Lutheranism and Roman Catholicism. This ended the religious debate between the Catholic Church and Martin Luther. John Calvin, born in France, practiced as a priest and a lawyer. He wrote a book in 1536 named Institutes of Christian Religion, and many Protestants read it. The book taught people how to organize and run a Protestant church. John Calvin believed that heaven can only be achieved through faith, the Bible is the only book that tells the truth, and that God is the most superior being and that people are sinners. Calvin also made the idea of predestination, which is only God knows who will have eternal life. Calvinism in Geneva. In 1541, the Protestants asked Calvin to lead a community in Geneva. According to his beliefs, he made a theocracy government be ran by the head of church. Theocracy is a government system where, if it was applied to a group, the leader is believed to be a disciple of God. Calvin's followers called themselves the chosen people. These followers' responsibility was to put up a Christian community. Calvinism also stressed hard work, discipline, frugality, or also known as saving money, honesty, and morality. There was also punishment for people who disrespect the church. Calvin closed movie houses and did not allow extravagant or expensive clothes. For Protestants, this discipline gave Geneva a new character and became a model community. Calvin also believed in the education of men and women, and also allowed women to sing in the church. Spreading of Calvinism. Calvinism spread into England, Scotland, France, and the Netherlands. Religious outcasts went to Geneva around the 1550s, and John Calvin welcomed them. He taught the outcasts about Calvinism and trained them to become ministers of it. John sent the outcasts back to their countries to spread Calvinism. In Germany, the Lutherans and Roman Catholics violently disagreed with the Calvinists, and a war took place between them, without the Lutherans. In Scotland, a Calvinist named John Knox started a religious rebellion and formed a Scottish
Presbyterian.
the
Presbyterian.
Church, Presbyterian Church.
Presbyterian.